Some stories in the Bible: thunder parting seas, divine pronouncements from mountaintops, fire consuming altars. These grand narratives captivate us with their sheer spectacle. But tucked away in the quiet corners of Scripture, hidden in the shadows of the more famous verses, are moments that demand a different kind of attention. They whisper, beckoning us to stop, lean in, and listen with a discerning heart. One such moment, a single verse, speaks of 12 legions of angels. That's 72,000 divine warriors poised ready to descend in glory. Their presence is undeniable, their power unimaginable, a force capable of reshaping reality itself, and yet they did nothing. They stood as silent witnesses as the Son of God was betrayed, arrested, beaten, and humiliated. Not one of them lifted a sword in his defense. Not one intervened to halt the unfolding injustice. It's one of the most overlooked and profoundly unsettling tensions in all of Scripture. And it has haunted me for years, a question that echoes in the chambers of my soul. Why were they there? Why were they poised for action, yet remained utterly silent? What cosmic drama unfolded in that moment of divine restraint? This is the story of the Silent Legion, the 72,000 angels who watched but never fought. It's a story that challenges our understanding of spiritual warfare, redefines the meaning of obedience, and sheds new light on our own moments of painful silence. It just might change the way you see God's hand in your life. Before we dive deep into this enigmatic narrative, if this kind of exploration, uncovering the hidden gems within Scripture, stirs something within you, ignites your curiosity, or resonates with your own spiritual journey, go ahead and like this video. Subscribe to the channel for more insightful explorations of faith, and hit that bell icon so you never miss what's hidden in plain sight. Let's embark on this journey together, seeking truth and understanding in the quiet whispers of the divine. Let's go back not to the genesis of time, but to a night that irrevocably altered the course of eternity. Not to the cross, not yet, but to a garden, to Gethsemane. It's the middle of the night, the air thick with anticipation, the oppressive silence broken only by the rustling of leaves. Torches flicker in the distance, casting long dancing shadows that seem to writhe with unspoken dread. A hush hangs over the ancient olive trees, as if they too are holding their breath, aware of the profound drama about to unfold. Jesus kneels alone, separated from the world and drawing close to his Father. His closest friends, Peter, James, and John, are just a few feet away, yet they succumb to the weight of exhaustion, lost in slumber, and he's praying not with calm, measured words or carefully crafted poetic verses. No, his prayer is raw, visceral, born of profound anguish. He's trembling, his body racked with inner turmoil. His sweat mingles with blood, a rare and terrible symptom of extreme mental and spiritual distress, a testament to the unbearable weight he carries. And here's where something extraordinary, something easily missed if you blink, occurs. The mob approaches a menacing throng fueled by malice and deceit, led by the betrayer Judas. Peter, ever the impetuous protector, driven by a fierce loyalty, instinctively pulls out his sword and swings wildly. He slices off the ear of Malchus, a servant of the high priest. Chaos erupts, a brief flurry of violence in the face of impending doom. But Jesus, with a voice that cuts through the confusion, says, "Stop." And then comes the line that has resonated through the ages, the pivotal statement that unlocks the mystery of the Silent Legion. "Do you think I cannot call on my Father, and he will at once put at my disposal more than 12 legions of angels?" Matthew 26:53. Just pause, take a moment to fully grasp the weight of those words, because this isn't mere hyperbole. Jesus isn't engaging in dramatic rhetoric. He's stating an undeniable fact, revealing a glimpse of the unseen reality that surrounds them 12 legions. In Roman military terms, a concept readily understood by Jesus' listeners that equates to 6,000 soldiers per legion, 12 of them, 72,000 angels. That means right there, just beyond the thin veil of heaven, stood 72,000 heavenly warriors armed and armored, radiant and fearsome, a force of unimaginable power waiting for a single command. And they didn't move. Can you feel that? That tension, that unimaginable pressure building in the unseen realm, the palpable sense of restrained power. It wasn't just a man choosing not to fight. It was an entire army, a force of divine retribution being told to stand still, to hold their ground, to remain silent in the face of injustice. I don't know about you, but that utterly wrecks me, because we so often think of angels as messengers delivering divine pronouncements, as warriors battling the forces of darkness, as protectors guarding the righteous from harm. And in so many places in the Bible, they are. But here in this crucial moment, they're watchers. They're present, fully aware of the unfolding drama. They're ready, poised for action, but they do not act. They are instruments of divine power deliberately held in check. And that makes me wonder not just about them, but about us. Have you ever felt ready to do something, anything, to intervene in a situation, to alleviate suffering, to right a wrong? But God said, no, not now, or worse, simply remain silent. Have you ever had to stand by, seemingly powerless as someone you loved, walk through fire knowing you possessed wisdom, strength, perhaps even the very words they needed to hear, but silence was the right move, the only path aligned with God's will? It's one of the most painful things a soul can bear, to possess the power to act, but lack the permission. Now imagine being an angel. You've witnessed cosmic wars, the clash of celestial armies. You've watched Lucifer, the morning star, fall like lightning from heaven, his rebellion shattering the harmony of creation. You've stood in the throne room of God, where glory pours forth like thunder and holiness burns brighter than the sun, a presence that would obliterate mortal eyes. And now your King, your very Creator, the embodiment of perfect love and justice, is being slapped, spit on, arrested, subjected to the ultimate indignity. And all you're allowed to do is watch. Can angels feel anguish? Can they clench their fists in frustration, yearning to unleash their righteous fury? We don't know exactly. Scripture doesn't offer us that level of detail. But if they possess any echo of God's heart, if they are indeed His agents, His ministers of fire, then witnessing this moment must have been excruciating, a torment beyond our comprehension. Because if Jesus had called for them, even for a single angel, He would have been instantly rescued. The forces of evil would have been scattered like dust. But we wouldn't have been. His silence unleashed salvation, the ultimate act of selfless love. His restraint, His unwavering obedience to the Father's will, was the real revolution, the turning point in the cosmic battle between good and evil. Friend, what if the greatest battles in your life are won not by outward action, but by inward obedience? Not by doing more, striving harder, or forcing your own agenda, but by holding still, trusting in God's perfect timing and plan. There's a reason silence is sacred, a space where we can truly hear the still small voice of God. There's a reason waiting feels like war, a constant struggle against our own impatience and desire for control, because sometimes it is. Not every fight is ours to wage. Not every victory comes from swinging the sword, from aggressively asserting our own will. Some victories look like watching with tears in your eyes, your heart breaking with compassion, yet trusting in the unwavering goodness and sovereignty of God. So here we are on the edge of battle with 72,000 angels poised on the line, and all of heaven holds its breath suspended in anticipation, because love has chosen the long road. The path of suffering and sacrifice and mercy requires stillness, a willingness to endure pain for the sake of ultimate redemption. Now that we've stood in the garden, felt the weight of that momentous night, let's pull back the curtain just a little more and examine the specifics of this divine army. 72,000 angels. It's such a specific number, not simply a great host, not thousands upon thousands, but a precise calculated force. Jesus said it clearly, 12 legions. Which begs the question, what exactly is a legion? And who were these angels, really? In Roman military terms, a concept deeply ingrained in the cultural consciousness of Jesus' listeners, a legion was the backbone of the empire's army, the fundamental unit of military power. It consisted of approximately 6,000 soldiers, highly trained and rigorously disciplined, led by experienced commanders who had proven their mettle on countless battlefields. Each legion was a finely tuned machine characterized by its strict hierarchical structure, unwavering discipline, and lethal efficiency. So when Jesus says, "My Father could send me 12 legions," he isn't engaging in poetic flourish. He's invoking a very specific and readily understood military structure conveying the immense power at his disposal. He's telling Peter, in essence, I don't need your little sword. I have access to an unstoppable divine force, 12 fully formed, disciplined armies of angels, ready to obliterate my enemies at a moment's notice. And yet they stayed their hand, their power deliberately restrained. But who were they? What kind of angels comprise this silent legion? Scripture doesn't provide us with exhaustive detail about the angelic realm, but it does offer us glimpses, tantalizing fragments of information that allow us to piece together a more complete picture. And from those glimpses, a multifaceted portrait begins to form. The Bible mentions different kinds of angels, each with their own unique roles and responsibilities. Seraphim, the fiery ones who surround the throne of God, crying, "Holy, holy, holy." In Isaiah's awe-inspiring vision, their voices shaking the very foundations of heaven. Cherubim, guardians of holy places, protecting the sanctity of Eden after the fall, and standing watch over the Ark of the Covenant, symbols of God's presence and power. Archangels, like Michael, who lead the heavenly armies in battle against the forces of darkness, waging spiritual warfare in the unseen realm, as described in Daniel and Revelation. Messengers like Gabriel, who deliver divine announcements conveying God's will to humanity, as he did to Mary, foretelling the birth of Jesus. Watchers, mysterious beings, mentioned in Daniel, observing events on earth, acting as celestial overseers. So where do these 72,000 warrior angels fit in this intricate celestial hierarchy? We don't know for certain. Scripture doesn't explicitly categorize them. But based on the context of the garden scene, we can make an educated guess, a reasonable inference based on the available evidence. They were likely warrior angels, heaven's frontline soldiers, the celestial equivalent of elite special forces. Not messengers, not choirs of praising voices, but defenders, enforcers, legions prepared for battle. They weren't sent to offer comfort or sing hymns of praise. They were prepared for war, trained to unleash the full force of divine power. And that's precisely what makes their silence even more staggering, even more impactful. Think about it. God could have sent anything, any number of divine interventions to prevent the crucifixion. He could have unleashed a miracle healing Jesus' wounds instantaneously. He could have triggered a natural disaster, a violent earthquake that would scatter the mob and level the city. He could have even just sown confusion in the enemy's ranks, causing them to turn on each other in a fit of paranoia and mistrust. But no, Jesus specifically mentions legions of angels were available not for intimidation, not for negotiation, but for total destruction, for the complete annihilation of his captors if he gave the word. And yet he didn't. Have you ever felt like you've been trained, equipped, matured, prepared for a specific purpose but still held back, restrained by an unseen force. Like God's given you insight, discipline, even authority, equipping you for a task. And yet, he says, not yet. That's the kind of angel I imagine in this story. Not new recruits, not weak or inexperienced beings, but seasoned veterans, warriors who have witnessed the full spectrum of cosmic conflict, ready, willing, and able to unleash their power and still obedient to silence. That kind of strength, self-controlled strength, the ability to restrain one's own power for a greater purpose, is something I'm still learning, a virtue that requires constant cultivation. A legion isn't just powerful because of its weapons, its physical prowess, its capacity for destruction. It's powerful because of its discipline, its unwavering obedience to command, its ability to function as a cohesive unit. And discipline means restraint, the capacity to hold back, to channel one's energy and focus it on the task at hand. Maybe you're part of a spiritual legion too. Maybe your call isn't to fight right now, to aggressively pursue your own ambitions, but to be ready, disciplined, and obedient, to hold the line, to stay watchful, to learn the rhythm of heaven's timing, not just your own sense of urgency. Some of you watching this might be in a waiting season that doesn't make sense, a period of apparent inactivity that feels frustrating and unproductive. You're trained, you're passionate, you're burning with purpose, eager to make a difference in the world. And yet God whispers, watch, wait, trust. That's not rejection. It's not a sign that you're unworthy or forgotten. That's positioning, preparation for a future role you cannot yet see. Just like those angels, you're not unused. You're not irrelevant. You're being held in reserve, your strength and skill being carefully preserved for a future battle. Some battles are loud, fought with visible weapons and dramatic displays of power. Others are fought in total silence, a quiet struggle waged in the depths of the soul. But make no mistake, there's still battles, conflicts that determine the course of eternity. When Jesus was arrested in the garden, the soldiers thought they were simply taking down a man, a troublesome rebel who threatened the established order. The religious leaders thought they were finally ending a heretic, silencing a voice that challenged their authority and exposed their hypocrisy. Judas thought he was setting in motion a political rebellion, a catalyst for the overthrow of Roman rule. But what they didn't see, what no one saw, except perhaps Jesus himself, was the cosmic tension that hung over that night, the invisible war raging in the spiritual realm. All throughout Scripture, there are hints, shadows of an invisible war, a conflict between good and evil that transcends the physical world. In Daniel 10, an angel tells Daniel he was delayed by the prince of Persia, a powerful spiritual being who opposed him for 21 days, hindering his mission until Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help breaking the deadlock and allowing the angel to proceed. In Revelation 12, there's a vivid description of a war in heaven, Michael and his angels fighting the dragon, a symbolic representation of the ongoing battle against Satan and his forces. Even in Job, we see Satan standing before God, accusing a righteous man, testing his faith, and challenging God's judgment. Heaven has never been inactive, a place of serene passivity. It is a dynamic realm filled with both beauty and conflict. But in Gethsemane, at the very moment Jesus is arrested, the heavens are quiet. The usual sounds of celestial activity muted. Why? Because the war wasn't primarily in the physical realm that night. The real battlefield was not the garden with its olive trees and flickering torches. It wasn't the temple with its religious rituals and power struggles. It wasn't even the cross, the instrument of suffering and death that awaited Jesus. It was something deeper, something far more profound. It was obedience versus pride, submission to God's will versus the pursuit of personal power. It was love versus control, a battle for the very soul of humanity. The question that always grabs me by the heart, the question that refuses to be silenced, is this: why didn't they intervene? if they were ready, if they possessed the power to save him, if they had the strength to stop it all, why didn't they? And here's the haunting truth, the uncomfortable reality that challenges our assumptions about God's power and justice, because God let evil think it had won. That's uncomfortable, isn't it? We want the story where evil is crushed the moment it rises, where injustice is shut down instantly, where the good guys always win, visibly, triumphantly, and without delay. But that's not the story of the gospel. The story of the gospel is apocalyptic mercy, a love that allows darkness to believe it's in control, to run its course, only to turn the tables with resurrection, with the ultimate victory over sin and death. In the Silent Legion, all 72,000 of them were an integral part of that divine strategy, a critical component in God's plan for redemption. They were not unused, their power wasted. They were withholding their strength deliberately restrained. They weren't absent, oblivious to the suffering of their king. They were restrained, their actions governed by a higher purpose. Let's not sugarcoat this. Let's not diminish the gravity of the situation. God could have stopped the crucifixion at any moment. He could have blinded the soldiers, like he did with Saul on the road to Damascus, striking them with a sudden and disorienting light. He could have sent earthquakes before, not after the death of Jesus, shaking the very foundations of the city. He could have turned swords into dust in the soldiers' hands, rendering them powerless. But he didn't. He allowed evil to breathe, to exercise its power, to reveal its true nature. He let hate play its hand, fueling the mob's rage and driving them to commit unspeakable acts of cruelty. He permitted injustice to run its course, allowing the innocent to suffer at the hands of the wicked, knowing that something far greater was at stake. Because in allowing it, he didn't lose power. He didn't relinquish control. He revealed his plan, a plan that looked weak, foolish, and utterly defeated, but was ultimately stronger than death itself. A plan that looked like surrender, the ultimate act of submission, but rewrote eternity, transforming suffering into salvation. Here's the twist that wrecks me every time, the unexpected turn of events that shatters our expectations. The cross wasn't the loss, it was the trap. Satan thought he had won, that he had finally extinguished the light of God in the world. The powers of darkness, the principalities and spiritual forces behind the corrupt systems of the world, they all believed they'd finally extinguished the light, silencing the truth and solidifying their reign of terror. But Colossians 2:15 says, "And having disarmed the powers and authorities, he made a public spectacle of them, not in spite of the cross, but by the cross." Jesus didn't avoid the war. He didn't sidestep the conflict. He went straight through it, embracing suffering and death, and won it by dying, transforming the ultimate defeat into the ultimate victory. And the angels, they stood in silence, not because they weren't strong enough to intervene, but because this time surrender was the strategy, the most powerful weapon in God's arsenal. Can I ask you something? A question that probes the depths of your soul. Have you ever been in a situation where it looked like the darkness was winning, like everything was falling apart, spiraling out of control, and God did nothing, remaining silent in the face of your suffering? So what have we discovered together? This story of the Silent Legion, those 72,000 angels poised for action, isn't just a fascinating biblical footnote. It's a powerful reminder that God's ways are often beyond our understanding, that true strength lies in obedience, and that even in our moments of deepest silence and seeming powerlessness, God is working, weaving a tapestry of redemption beyond our comprehension. It encourages us to trust that even when we can't see His hand, He is still in control, orchestrating a victory that may look like defeat in the moment, but will ultimately bring about His perfect and eternal purpose. This is just the beginning of unraveling this powerful moment in Gethsemane. We have much more to explore in part 2, but before we continue, what are your thoughts? What resonated with you the most? Do you have any questions that this exploration has stirred up? Please leave your comments and insights below. Let's continue this conversation together. And if you found this exploration of faith insightful and thought-provoking, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss part 2 of the Silent Legion, where we'll dive even deeper into the implications of this powerful story. We'll continue to explore Scripture, searching for those hidden gems that illuminate our understanding of God and His incredible plan for our lives. We'll see you there.